But I think laying the foundation for this is what we have to do to compete at a championship level. Yeah. Like this is why home court matters. This is why you can't have off day. This is why we can't be 11th in the league in defense, right? Like we got to get to at least middle of the pack. All of those different things. And so as a competitor, it's exciting.
Did you catch what Stephanie White said about Caitlin Clark? It's definitely surprising. The new head coach of the Indiana Fever made a shocking statement in her latest interview, and now everyone's talking about it.
It's exciting to coach generational talents, and that outweighs the other stuff that we might have to deal with.
White didn't just compliment Clark, she shared something that could completely reshape the WNBA. Want to hear the truth about the league's newest superstar and the coach who's known her since middle school? Stick around, because Coach White wasn't the only one in that interview. Another rival coach also shared a surprising story about Clark that you won't want to miss. Ready? Let's dive in.
Do I think it's going to be a seamless transition? No. I mean, it's going to take some time. And just like any young team, I mean, you don't get back-to-back #1 picks by being really talented early, right? Just like any young team, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And it's we got to put some pieces together, and we've got to continue to build. So managing expectations is going to be important.
Imagine this, a packed gym, the crowd buzzing with excitement. In the stands sits Stephanie White, her focus on a young player who's effortlessly outplaying everyone. But here's the twist, this isn't just any player. It's an 8th grade Caitlin Clark. Hard to believe, right?
Started watching Caitlin Clark when she was in the 8th grade when I was at Vanderbilt.
How about that?
And then I called a lot of her games in college when she was at Iowa. And so I've really watched her continue to learn and grow, and I have great relationships with her college coaches and had multiple conversations with them throughout the course of her career about what the next steps would be, right? And what the next level would be.
White has been closely following Clark's journey, watching her go from a middle school prodigy to a college superstar. But here's the twist, White wasn't just watching from the sidelines. She was studying Clark's every move, analyzing her skills, and even imagining what it would be like to coach this incredible talent one day.
Caitlin isn't just great for women's basketball. She is great for the entire game. She's more than just points.
She absolutely is. I mean, let's not forget, this is a young woman who led the nation in assists as well. She's accomplished records that haven't ever been accomplished in the sport of collegiate basketball.
Fast forward to today, and White isn't just praising Clark, she's sharing how years of closely watching her have shaped her deep understanding of Clark's game. It's as if White has been preparing for this moment her whole career. And then, in her interview, she drops a major bombshell, revealing insights that only someone who's followed Clark's entire journey could know.
I'm looking forward to, when you think about Caitlin Clark and a generational talent, and, the sometimes overlooked Kelsey Mitchell, who has been like one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen from the time I was covering her at Big Ten Network, watching her at Ohio State. And then Aaliyah Boston, who, prior to Caitlin Clark coming on the scene, was another generational talent and is, right? Like, so it's like you think about the pieces that we have and putting that all together.
White doesn't just talk about Clark as a basketball player, she paints her as a cultural icon, a once-in-a-generation talent. The way White speaks about Clark shows that she sees something far beyond stats and scores. And here's the exciting part, White's enthusiasm about coaching Clark and the Fever is impossible to miss. You can feel her excitement as she says, "What an incredible moment we have in women's basketball right now. I'm thankful and grateful for it." It's as if White knows she's about to be part of something huge, something that could change the game forever.
I hope, number one, for Caitlin, that I can be a resource. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the same stuff that she has on a global scale. Mm-hmm. Thankfully we didn't have social media at the time, which amplifies everything. But I've been through it on a smaller scale. And so hopefully I can help her navigate, some of the extra stuff. While pushing her to be her best and challenging her to step outside of her comfort zone on the floor. Have the advantage of I was an opponent, right? And so scouting her and this is what we try to do to make you uncomfortable. This is how we game planned for you. And again, being that straight shooter, like, okay, like these are the areas that we need to improve. And putting those pieces together while also thinking about the holistic version of this team that we have, who is incredibly gifted on the offensive end of the floor. Offense is what I love. And so trying to think about all these things that we can do.
But it's not just about Clark. White's insights also give us a peek into the future of the Fever. She's not only excited about coaching Clark, she's equally thrilled about the team they're building. You can practically hear the excitement in her voice when she talks about the upcoming season. The anticipation is contagious.
Heck, we had a staff meeting a couple of weeks ago in Indy, and it was like, guys, we got to scale it back. We're not going to be able to do all of this in year one. We're not going to be able to do all of this in training camp. Like, we're going to be able to. So staying ahead of the curve and watching all of these, NBA games and EuroLeague games and thinking about the things that we can do is really exciting to me.
White's decade-long connection to Clark isn't just an interesting detail, it's a game changer. It means she truly understands Clark's strengths, weaknesses, and potential in a way no other coach could. White has watched Clark grow, adapt, and face challenges head-on. She's seen up close the work ethic and determination that have shaped Clark into the player she is today.
Caitlin Clark is just at the epitome of the intersection of social media, of pop culture, and fan engagement in a way that we've never seen, and she's moving the needle forward for all athletes.
Let's rewind for a moment. Remember when Caitlin Clark was dominating college basketball? Stephanie White was right there with a microphone in hand, but she wasn't just another analyst hyping up a star. White saw something in Clark that others missed. Instead of just focusing on the flashy plays and impressive stats, she was digging deeper, analyzing Clark's court vision, basketball IQ, and her ability to elevate her teammates. In one broadcast, White made a huge statement: "I think she reads the game better than other stars." That wasn't just a compliment on Clark's scoring. White was recognizing the deeper qualities that set a great player apart from the rest.
Looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this.
Fast forward to Clark joining the WNBA. The hype was huge, but so was the pressure. And who was right there, firmly in Clark's corner? Stephanie White. When Clark dropped her first 2 WNBA games, the critics came out strong. But White wasn't having any of it. She stood up for Clark, reminding everyone that even the best players need time to adjust.
It's exciting. Certainly I was born and raised in Indiana, and so have a lot of pride in Indiana basketball, and a lot of pride in the Fever organization, being a player and a coach there. And it's exciting what's happening with the organization and where they are. I mean, most organizations have their ups and downs, certainly. But I'm proud of the growth of the Indiana Fever. Excited, about the future of the Indiana Fever. And
now, picture this: White coaching against Clark in the playoffs. You'd think she'd be all about stopping her, right? Wrong. Even in that moment, White couldn't hide her excitement about the Fever's future with Clark. It's like she knew something the rest of US didn't.
What's your approach when you're coaching greatness like that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations about what she's watching, what she likes, what are some of the things that what are some of her thoughts from, not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general.
White's excitement about the future of the Indiana Fever was clear. And then, the moment we've all been waiting for, she gets the Fever coaching job. Who's the first person she calls? Caitlin Clark. Can you imagine that conversation? White couldn't hold back her excitement, saying, "I spoke with Caitlin last night, and there's just this overall excitement." This wasn't just a coach talking to a player, it was 2 people who both know they're about to create something truly special.
I mean, let me tell you, so this is crazy. So it's the end of, I don't know, maybe a quarter or half, I'm not sure which, but we were going to take a foul on her, right? And so Caitlin Clark brings it over, and she brings it over close to where Katie Gerald is, and we were going to tell Jayla Smith to foul. And so Katie said, "I'll tell you when." And so you can see Caitlin hear that.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting. White's coaching philosophy isn't just about winning games, it's about unlocking each player's full potential and building something lasting. When talking about coaching Clark with the Fever, White said, "This is the moment we've been waiting for." That's not just excitement, that's a coach who knows she has all the pieces to create something extraordinary now. Picture this, it's a crucial moment in the game between Iowa and Purdue. The tension is high, and everyone's holding their breath. Purdue's coaching staff thinks they have the perfect plan to stop the unstoppable Caitlin Clark. But they're about to learn a tough lesson: never underestimate the unexpected.
Now, Jayla Smith goes to foul. She throws it up.
Yep.
Turns around. It goes in.
Yep.
it freaking goes in, and she didn't even see it. And then she starts going, and one. I'm like, oh my God.
Purdue's coach, Kelly Kamar, thought he had it all figured out. Their plan was to foul Clark before she could take a shot. Sounds simple, right? Well, not when you're up against a player like Caitlin Clark.
Whatever you're scheming, whatever you're thinking you're going to try, like, I mean, we all just did our best, right? We just did the best we could. And at the end of the day, it was what it was. But, you know, somebody like that, you know, everybody has to kind of cross their fingers and kind of throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks with her.
So, Purdue goes for the foul, but Clark, with her incredible court awareness, somehow overhears their plan. As Purdue's Jayla Smith moves into foul, Clark pulls off something no one saw coming. She tosses up a shot, turns around, without even looking, and it swishes in. Everyone's speechless. It's one of those moments that leaves you saying, did that really just happen?
But it was pretty cool to experience Mackey Arena and Caitlin Clark at the same time. I mean, it was.
We had a lot more defensive weapons at our disposal. So, you know, and it's I don't know how any college team really can prepare for a Caitlin Clark, because you can't do it with one person. Yeah. You know, you can't do it one-on-one, right? Like it is a whole 5-man team effort. So let me just preface all that before you go.
Here's the kicker, the shot didn't even count because the foul was called before Clark released the ball. But that's not the point. In that split second, Clark showed everyone in the arena why she's in a league of her own. Later, Kamar couldn't help but laugh at how impossible it all seemed. He summed it up perfectly, trying to contain Caitlin Clark is like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. But he also admitted, it was pretty cool to experience Mackey Arena and Caitlin Clark at the same time. I mean, it was fun, this moment, this impossible shot. It's more than just a highlight reel play. It's the perfect example of what makes Clark so special, her ability to read the game, anticipate what's coming, and turn even the most hopeless situations into magic. That's what sets her apart. Think about it, how many players can say they made a shot without looking at the basket while being fouled, and after overhearing the other team's plan? It's the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a movie, not in a real college basketball game.
Our job then as coaches to continue to put them in positions to succeed, and our job as a franchise to put the pieces around them that will fill some of the gaps and fill some of the holes, and ultimately our goal is to win championships and to hang banners.